All Over the Road New Orleans is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc. Mind your money, and recorded in front of a live studio audience.
So I want you to go vote. I want you to go vote. Can I mention I want you to go vote? Look at it this way, folks. If dead people can do it, so can you.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Here at All Over the Road New Orleans, the podcast. We'd like to thank all of our listeners, followers, and subscribers for 4 good seasons, and welcome to the show.
Next to you and defend her still today.
It's All Over the Road, the podcast, and I am the king of all podcasting, Victor Del Toro, with my friend Ted Stepper. Ted, we missed you. Ted's been out of, he's been on the road. You've been on location. Isn't that true?
Been gone a couple weeks.
Been gone a couple of weeks.
I'm never going to do that again. 2 weeks
That's
away
too
from
long.
home is just a long time. And then it's funny because you go and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of miss being at home, and all that kind of thing, your regular daily routine of things, and then you're back home for about 3 days, you're ready to go again.
And then you drove everywhere in your new Mafia car.
Yeah, we did. We went to Orlando, Florida. My Mafia car. What are you talking about?
Well, it looks like a Mafia car.
Well, that's the one we took to Houston.
Yes. It's
Well,
very
you
low
enjoyed the ride. It's a
I
nice.
enjoyed the ride. It's
Yeah.
very low. It's a form-fitting seat. You get in the seat, and the seat kind of wraps itself around you.
I know why you say Mafia, because of the dark windows.
Dark windows,
which,
yeah.
by the way, did not pass. But
So you can't go in and break your tags?
yeah, I gotta
can't get
find
one
a
of those?
place that will pass it,
Yeah. Well, you know who
or
might know?
I gotta get it fixed.
You know who might know where
Yeah.
you can get that pass?
Who's
Who
that?
might know? Because he knows everything. I call Mr. Know-It-All,
Who's that?
Mr. Scott McKay. Mr. Scott McKay.
Scott McKay from Baton Rouge. So he's got a
Hello?
lot to say.
Scott McKay, ladies and gentlemen, from the Hayride. Ted and I were just talking. He's got a problem. He's got a new car, right? It's got one of these tint jobs that's tinted, and he can't.
It's a little too dark to pass.
He was telling me he can't get anything passed. You probably know somebody for that, huh, Scott?
You probably
Somebody will pass him.
you don't want to
Tinted
say.
windows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. They're a little too dark. They won't pass. So I don't
well,
know.
they got plenty of people in New Orleans that handle stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
That's what you need to
good
do.
defer. Yeah,
That's what you need to do.
Try New Orleans.
Come down here to the Banana Republic. They'll fix you right up. Scott, thanks for being on. It's Scott McKay from the Hayride. And Scott, every time we have Scott
thanks for having me,
on,
guys.
we love it. So,
It's been a while since we've had you on.
Yeah, a little too long, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's been this year. We're kind of trying to reminisce and think about that, but it's good to have you back.
how's the book doing?
Well, there's the book is doing, I guess, fine. I've got another one coming out that's actually later this summer about Obama
Oh, really?
and the fundamental transformation of America and how sadly successful that actually was.
Yeah.
You know what? When you
which
look at
wasn't a lot of fun to write, but I mean, if you're looking for a historical reference and sort of lay the dots out and connect them for you so you can see sort of where we are and how we got here, this thing is going to be really good.
Well, the thing with the Obama thing, though, is it came with a cost. You know how every time when there's a president, they show you before he was president pick,
Right.
and they show you an after? The guy that really got run through the ringer was Obama. Man, that guy, he aged like 50 years.
He did. He's not that old,
So
really.
it took a lot of effort to ruin the country.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
I'll say that, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, are you absolutely sure that it was the presidency that did it to him? Mm-hmm. Because if you had the room with Big Mike, I don't know how well you'd hold up either.
Ooh, do tell. Do tell.
Yeah.
I mean, she just doesn't strike me as the most
Feminine?
agreeable, pleasant wife that a guy
Yeah.
could have.
she's got that little bulge down there. You've seen those pictures?
Wow. Well, that's there. Hence the Big Mike.
Yeah, she's got a bulge. Like, you'll find
What are you
pictures
talking about?
down in the crotch.
Are you kidding me? No.
No, I'm not kidding you.
No. Stop. Let's
Scott,
just stop
am
right
I
now.
am I kidding him,
No,
Scott?
No, he's not kidding. That
Okay, all right.
this is like the elephant in the room that everybody just ignores when they take pictures of Michelle and it's like
Big Mike.
she's so beautiful and stylish, and I'm like, yeah, all I can look at is the freaking middle part, which doesn't look right.
This is going awry very quick. It's going awry very quick. Thing about Ted is,
I mean, we really shouldn't be this dismissive of the likely future Democrat nominee for president next year, right?
Yeah, I kind of concerned about that though, aren't you? I mean, she's pretty popular with the Democrats, and You know, she's
You mean her
black,
running for
female,
president? If
and-
she ran for president, she'd win.
yeah.
She'd win.
I mean, who could beat her?
Well, it depends on how good a campaigner she turned out to be. I have a feeling that she would like make a series of statements that even the legacy corporate media couldn't cover up.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of political charisma there. I mean, you know, Barry had the charisma. She was the one that would pop out with statements that people would go, ugh. Like when she said, you know, this is the first time I've ever been proud of my country. And it was like, okay, that's it. For the next 5 months, you're going to say nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if you put her forward where she's got to like make remarks every single day on a camera. I think she's going to build up quite a repertoire in no time flat. So maybe she's not an inevitability if she gets in.
Is this something that's really happening where there's talk about her running for president? I haven't heard anything about that, although I'm not watching anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, put it this way. It's going to be somebody because by this time next year, there's just no way you're going to be able to make Joe Biden sellable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's just no way. I mean, the guy can't even stand up without falling over now. I mean, the sentences are no longer complete.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look, you can't hide the dementia at this point.
Neither am I.
And at some point, I think they're just going to, you know, it's going to be one of these deals where they're going to have to replace him. And who do you replace him with?
Yeah. Do they have anybody? I mean, the Democrats.
I mean, they don't have Kamala Harris. You can't do that.
Right,
You're going to lose the election if it's her. I don't think you can sell Gavin Newsom to the public.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
So, like, who else
Max
is
Headroom.
it? I mean, Michelle actually probably could win. I don't know anybody else they have that could.
I call Gavin Newsom Max Headroom. Remember Max Headroom? The Coca-Cola
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But Max Headroom was smarter than Gavin.
He sure was. I love that.
Well, nobody's actually asked Michelle if she's running or was she plans to run, as far as I know.
Well, her stock answer is that she has no interest in elective office at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard to credit anything that any of these people say, right? I mean, like, most of the time they lie. So, and everybody knows if it was her, then it would really be him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's more or less run the country for the last 3 years through Biden. So why would it be so different for him to run it through Michelle?
Yeah, would there be any difference? I mean, normally, right, in a situation like this where the president's Democrat, nobody really challenges him if he's running for re-election. But I don't think anybody really believes he's actually going to be on the ballot come November of next year.
There's an LBJ 1968 vibe going around right now, and it's not even 1968. So
right
now, what about the Republicans? Who do they have? Scott McKay? Who do they got? What about Scott McKay?
Well, what is it? As of now, it's like 12.
Yeah, it's
today.
getting longer.
Mike Pence gets in, and then some guy Burgum, whatever, the governor of North Dakota, gets in, and it's
never even heard of him. Yeah.
Hey, dude. Like, you're the governor of North Dakota.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but what's the same
but
thing
if
with
it was
this?
the governor of South Dakota, that'd be different.
Well, Kristi Noem gets in, and it's like, I don't know who she is, but I might vote for her. This guy is like, who the hell are you?
I'll vote for her. Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the GOP is you have, I mean, Chris Christie and some of, Nikki Haley and some of these other people. And it's like, you guys are Bush Republicans. You guys are the people that ran the GOP into the dirt between the time Reagan left office and the time Trump came along. And you may be able to get to the Senate, or you may be able to get elected governor of your state, but nobody really thinks that you're the future of the party.
Right.
And yet they all get in. And the thing is that they all get in and they all talk about how terrible Trump is. And it's like, you do realize you guys are all canceling each other out, because if you're in a 2-man or 3-man primary and you get 35% of the vote, you probably don't win. Mm-hmm. But if you're in a 12-man primary and you get 35% of the vote,
right,
you're the freaking nominee.
Yeah, well, aren't all these guys hoping that Trump's going to be in jail or something? I mean, he's got some serious issues facing him.
Okay. I mean, he might, but I mean, the thing is, if everybody thinks that these prosecutions are political and not based in fact, then whatever problems Trump may have are not electoral. In other words, it's not going to, if people think that he's unjustly accused of, like, for example, this thing in New York that they went after him on. right?
Yeah.
The Alvin Bragg deal. Everybody knows that that's garbage. I mean, this whole, hush money to Stormy Daniels, and it was a campaign violation. I mean, you have to stretch that so hard to even make it a plausible accusation. Nobody thinks that that's a real thing.
Right.
And this, the Mar-a-Lago raid that they're now talking about is about to get a federal indictment. Everybody knows that that's garbage. So unless you've got 6 or 7 of these and it just becomes such a big deal that it just is like, well, wait, how is he even going to run for president with all of this stuff in his face?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that costs him support. It may make it so that it's impractical for him to do it. Although,
what about his age?
Trump's judgment, though.
Scott, what about his age? Trump. He's the same age as Biden, isn't he? I think the same age.
No, he's 4 years younger than Biden.
4 years, yeah.
He is. He's 4 years
which is
younger.
not enough.
But he's
frankly.
way more coherent and mentally capable.
No, he is.
Well, what is DeSantis then? Is
DeSantis
a Bush Republican?
No, I think he's most certainly not. I mean, a Bush Republican doesn't go after Disney the way DeSantis has. And Republican.
If I had my pick, I'd take DeSantis over Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
I'm leaning that way, mostly because the never-ending attacks on DeSantis from Trump come off as dumber and dumber all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, when he said that Cuomo had done a better job on COVID than
Trump gets in
DeSantis.
there, Scott, and nobody talks over Scott McKay, but if Trump gets in there, they're going to spend all their time doing all their crap like they did before. Maybe if this,
well, they're going to do that with anybody that the Republicans manage to get elected. Mm-hmm. We know that. I mean, if you want to vote for DeSantis because you think it's going to calm down once you get Trump out of the way, be warned, because that's not actually what's going to happen. Now, DeSantis may handle it differently in such a way that it's maybe more professional and less overheated. He may come off a little more polished than Trump does, because that's the way it's worked in Florida. I mean, he's kind of no drama Ron in Florida. I mean, they bring all this stuff and he bats it away pretty effortlessly. Mm-hmm. And effortlessly is not Trump's style, right? Like, Trump's style is, I'm going to beat this horse to death so that all the bones are broken. And, whereas with DeSantis, he is, you just go back and look at when they did the anti-grooming bill over there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he just won, right? Like, I mean, it was one of those deals where they came out and said, look, 55% of the Democrats in Florida want this bill. Right. And so inside the state, something that was supposed to be so incredibly contentious really was not. And then Disney got involved, and he's gotten in a big fight with Disney, but this was the genesis of it. But at the end of the day, it was the fact that Disney had such an unbelievably corrupt corporate welfare regime, and with that kind of separate government that they were able to do, that, he's like, okay, we're going to take this on. Of course, you got one of the biggest companies in the world with an army of lawyers, so they're going to drag this out forever.
Well, it's really sad because that you brought that up, because we were planning a big Disney trip at the end of this year with my grandkids and everything, and then me and my son-in-law, we finally just came to the decision that we can't support Disney anymore.
Yeah,
we just can't. And I'm telling you, it really hurts my daughters because they kind of grew up in an influential time. We lived out in California, and that was in the media, and in those days you could get free tickets to Disneyland, but you can't do that anymore. You could be Obama, I guess got Obama on the brain, but anybody, but you can't get tickets.
Right. And
they just have such fond memories. And we don't do World. We've done World, but we do Land. That's the real, to us, that's the real Disney. And now I got to sit here and tell my grandkids that, we can't do that anymore. And it's really kind of sad. And I don't know why, I guess that, you really have to go back and really believe the fact that there is an enemy. There's stuff going on in the supernatural that we don't see, in the spiritual realm that we don't see. And that the enemy is doing this. I mean, because I go, who's doing this? I mean, who's doing this kind of stuff? And you try to figure it out and you can't. Let me say this. I've got one big question for you. And I really, and I only trust you with the answer to this question. I could get a hold of a lot of people and ask them this question, but I would trust your answer to this one question. And I'm going to ask you that question once, then we just got to take a quick break. Hang with us, Scott, okay, just for a second, all right? All over the road, the podcast continues with Scott McKay, baby, from the Hayride. Be right back.
These woke, high IQ, stupid people, they're easy to recognize. They hate George Washington. They hate Thomas Jefferson. They hate Dr. Zeus, and they hate Mr. Potato Head.
You're probably saying to yourself, what do I do with this excess money that I have in my bank account? I think everybody should have some cash reserve. But when it gets into like a bunch of money, you're not making any interest on it, and it's just there for the taking. If everybody tried to withdraw money out of the bank, all the banks have crashed. The banks don't have this money. The money doesn't exist. Try to go to the bank and get $10,000 out. Good luck to you. Well, there's an answer to the sideline cash problem. There's an answer to, possible banks collapsing. There's an answer to securities collapsing. There's an answer to a possible depression. It's possible. And that is GOLD, gold. It's been around for 5,000 years. And Coin Trader Inc., they're your go-to people when it comes to precious metals, gold, and rare coins. They are experts in all of those areas. They will tailor a plan just right for you and your family. You might want to take care of the grandkids. You might want to do something for the wife. You might want to do something for the retirement. This is retirement insurance. This is financial insurance. You can't be without it, and it's tangible. They don't send you a piece of paper. They send you the real stuff discreetly in the mail. So give them a call. It's Coin Trader Inc., proud sponsors of this podcast, 504-267-6004, and tell them the king of all podcasting sent you. Coin Trader Inc. Mind your money, baby.
These woke, high IQ, stupid people, they walk around with Ziploc bags of kale that they can eat to give them energy. Now, if you want to eat kale, that's up to you. I don't eat kale. You know why? Because kale tastes to me like I'd rather be fat.
All Over the Road New Orleans is brought to you by Coin Trader Inc. Mind your money.
Okay, welcome back. We got Scott McKay here. And Scott, here it is. This is the big question that I wanted to ask you. And I really mean this. I mean this. This is not, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be, controversial or anything like this. But this is the question. And I really trust your answer. Is it actually, here it is it actually possible for us to have a fair presidential election in this country after what we saw? And I don't want to open up a can of worms of what happened 4 years ago. They had stuff on video, people pulling out ballots, the whole shebang, the mail-ins, COVID, all this stuff that I think was designed just to rig it. This is just my opinion. It smells too much like it. Can we actually? I mean, we had the guy on. Who was the guy on the? Who do we have on? The guy that's the count. He's running for where they count.
Brandon.
We have Brandon Trosclair on here. You know Brandon.
Running for Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Brandon was saying, well, that's what he does. He makes sure that who's counting your votes. When they go on the machines, how do you know see, now I'm not finishing my sentences. Yeah. Listen, Scott, can we actually have a fair election? Can I go into that booth next November and cast my vote? It's going to be counted.
Well, I think it depends on what state you're in. So, for example, this fall in Louisiana, we're going to have a statewide cycle, and I don't really think election integrity is forfeit in the state. I think they've ranked Louisiana. We're in the top 6 in terms of election integrity. So, I think here it's fine. Texas is kind of fine. I mean, they did a lot of stuff in Harris County that was really untoward. So there, you have some issues in a place like Georgia or Pennsylvania or Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin. No, I mean, those states. Basically, the challenge for the Republican Party is you're going to have to out ballot harvest the other side, because those elections in those states and others like it, elections are ballot harvesting and ballot collection contests.
Yeah, what is it? What is
no
ballot
longer
harvesting? What is that?
Well, okay. So, for example, in places where they do lots of mail-in voting,
right.
All right. It's not a question of, hey, let's go convince a majority of the people that we're right and they'll vote for us. It's we're going to send out mules who are going to go collect ballots and bring them in. So, in other words, we're going to go harvest ballots out of places like nursing homes where the residents don't even know what they're voting for. You just go over there and you put the thing in front of them and you get them to sign it. And they have, all of these different community centers and all this kind of stuff like that. And Democrats do this and Republicans generally don't. so, it's not even really about trying to get a majority of folks to work for you, because it's just all about collecting these pieces of paper and turning them in.
Why can't we just go back to you go and you vote and you get out of bed, you brush your teeth
on one day.
Yeah.
One day, not a month of early voting and all this other kind of stuff, because you know what happens, and they don't publish the vote, but they know exactly like how many votes they need. And so that's how you get the graveyard vote coming out. And that's how you get, all these people who moved away 10 years ago are all of a sudden voting in your election again. And in a state like Arizona, where people are like super transitory, you have all kinds of trash in the voter rolls that the Democrats will just go and vote that. They'll harvest ballots from those lines on the voter rolls. Like, I think election integrity is a colossally dangerous, awful issue that needs to be addressed. Do I think that it's so bad that the Republican Party's done? No, but I do think this. It is much less important who the nominee is, whether it's Trump or DeSantis or somebody else, than whether the Republican Party is actually able to do the logistics of an election in a way that makes it competitive. Because in the last 3 cycles, that's not happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not illegal, right?
Well, in places where you have the legislature and the governor, you need to make sure that the elections have actual integrity. In other words, the election happens on election day, not election month. You're not doing mail-in ballots. You're scrubbing the voter rolls to keep the dead people and the ones that moved away. Valid ID, all of that. In the places where you don't have the control of the legislature or the governor's mansion, okay, then you better ballot harvest better than the Democrats do.
You just got to play the game better.
I just think the whole thing's fixed, and I don't know.
Well, this is the thing, like, you're not supposed to use churches as electioneering centers.
That's where I vote.
The GOP had better just go ahead and get started doing it.
I voted my church.
I mean, they need to go to those church congregations and say, okay, we're all voting Republican, and you're not leaving this church without filling this ballot out. Which you can't. You're not supposed to do. But you know what?
Yeah.
The other side doesn't give a damn what the law is, and it's about time for the Republicans to start beating them at their own game.
Hey, so we mentioned Brandon Trosclair as Secretary of State. We had him on the show just a month ago. But how do you feel about him as a candidate? Do you think he has a chance to win?
Well, we'll see. I don't know that the field for that race is set yet. Mike Francis, who's a public service commissioner who's been around forever, has an unlimited supply of money, is in. Nancy Landry, who's like currently the number 2 in that office and is a former state rep and was actually a really good state rep. She's in. We don't know who the Democrat's going to be. And there's some rumors that there may be some other people get in. So, you may have this big field that nobody really knows who the front runner is. So I have a hard time handicapping that one because I really don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
So now what's the new book about? What's the name of the new book and what's it about? It's not out yet. You're still writing it, or you're still?
It's not out. No. I think my part is done. The publisher has it now. We're picking titles. I think the title's going to be American Saboteur, but I'm not 100% sure of that. It's one of those, everybody I ask, hey, what about this as a title? Everybody thinks it's great. The publisher's like, maybe.
I got an idea.
Well, we need a title. They're like, well, we need a title when we publish it. But until then, it's kind of not that big a deal. I'm like, oh, okay.
I got an idea for the cover, okay? Here, picture this. So stay with me here, Scott. Here's the cover. The cover you got Obama. Okay, and he's like a marionette doll. He's like a Pinocchio. Mm-hmm. He's a Pinocchio. Mm-hmm. He's got the strings attached to him, and then you got Michelle above, doing the puppet.
Oh, you think Michelle is the one pulling the strings?
Oh yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, inside the house, I think that might be true.
I don't know.
I'm not sure she cares about running the country as much, but
right.
She was all about taking those super expensive trips when she was first lady.
Yeah,
her and LaToya. Mm-hmm. They should be friends, those two, LaToya and Michelle.
Speaking of pod.
So speaking of LaToya, is that recall thing? Is it done? There was,
that's over with.
No, but there was an issue with it that they weren't going to let it go. But I'm just trying to get an update.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen. But it's dead. It's done.
I think it's dead. Don't you, Scott?
Yeah, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
She's in. She's
there's a time limit. Like once you bring a recall, I don't remember how long it is, but there's like a time limit. You can't bring it again.
Okay.
For a couple of years or something like that, by which time she's going to be gone anyway.
Now, as part of this book that you're going to be doing, do you talk a little bit about the stimulus, about all the stimulus stuff the guy did?
Yep. We talk about that, which was just a big smash and grab operation. And, we talk about race a lot. Like a whole lot, because that was the mechanism by which the country got torn apart.
Yeah.
And just sort of the background of where all this came from. Like there's the narrative of Obama was sort of the dreams from my father thing about Barack Sr., who was had this wonderful vision and all of that is crap. The real father of Barack Obama was Frank Marshall Davis, who may have been his biological father. If you line up the pictures of Barack Sr. and Frank Marshall Davis, it's like, who does he look like more? It ain't a hard call, okay? But even if that's not your thing, there's no question but that Frank Marshall Davis was his spiritual, intellectual father, because practically everything Barack Obama did as president and the things that he said were all stuff that you can trace back to things Frank Marshall Davis wrote in those communist newspapers that he worked for. I mean, it's really uncanny. And I mean, I didn't even have to do this research because it had already been done by other people. I just brought it back up and said, hey, for 15 years, you've seen this guy kind of run his mouth, and him and his sort of minions that existed in the deep state, even when Trump was president, were basically acting on all of the things that were, pre-existing and out there that everybody knew about if they actually had paid attention to who Obama was and what his background was.
Yeah.
Which, of course, was very few people, because there was this sanitized narrative of Barack Obama as this, great American story when he was anything but. That people just swallowed, right? Because to not swallow it would make you a racist.
Right. And I think the perfect candidate would be this. Let's say you get a candidate, right? And the mom, of this candidate is half Hispanic, half Asian. Okay. And the dad is half Caucasian, half African American. Then you got yourself a candidate.
You got
yourself some inclusion right there.
And a female.
Yeah,
and a
you're
female.
Go to the pound and get that? Oh, and by the way,
not a female.
By the way, you have to identify as Native American.
Identify as Native American.
Yeah.
And in transition as far as their orientation.
Nutty.
You got your perfect candidate here for the United States of America. I wanted to talk to you about a couple things, all right? I don't know, we got this echo here all of a sudden. I want to talk to you about a couple things. It's time on the clock. The sponsor's got to make a quick little buck here. I'll be back in like 30 seconds with Scott McKay from Hayride. And believe me, every time we have Scott on this show, people love it.
Yeah.
He's probably our most coveted guest. We'll be right back with him in just a second. This is All Over the Road, the podcast. Nolans.
This here is Louisiana politics at its best.
If you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
But it's also racist as hell, and he ain't say nothing about opioid addicts, meth addicts, none of that other stuff, because he was trying to talk about a specific subset of people that he doesn't give a damn about serving in Louisiana since he's been elected. We need leaders who have real solutions to the problem in our communities, not cowards like John Kennedy who drop one-liners and do nothing on the job. You're a piece of...
The All Over the Road. Listen or comment live. Say whatever you want. 24 hours a day. Tell a story. Give your opinion.
You'll be on the next podcast. So go ahead. Don't be shy. Call 504-603-6753.
This All Over the Road New Orleans podcast is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc. Mind your money.
Scott, Ted and I took a trip to Houston, and we went and did a ball game there. Had a little fun with my friend Max Van Pelt, and we had a really good time. And we made that drive from New Orleans to Houston. I'm sure you've made the drive from from Baton Rouge to Houston on a few occasions, I'd assume, correct?
I try to rent a car so that when the interstate destroys the suspension of the car, it's not my car.
That's when you go by when you go through Bromont. What did the guy call Beaumont the other day? He called it
Blomont.
Yeah, Blomont.
Yeah,
Blomont.
Well, you mean?
I mean, look, Lake Charles and Sulphur are no Swedish massage for your suspension either.
So we go to the game, and I don't know if you know this or not, but now they're not taking any cash in any of the ball games. You got to have credit.
Oh, yeah.
There's just no cash allowed and everything. And of course, Ted just went to Tropicana Field and said it was a dump and all this kind of stuff. But one of the things that I ran across just recently, and hand that to me, Ted, because I have to have it in my hand. I don't know why, but it's
anyway, there it goes. Grab it. Reach down there. Sorry, I threw it to you and you missed it. You dropped it. Foul.
Hey, did you eat with those hands, Vic? Anyway, have you heard of Cracker Jill yet? Cracker Jill.
Cracker Jill.
It's candy-coated popcorn, peanuts, and a prize. That's what you get in Cracker Jill. It's from the makers of Cracker Jack.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Not Cracker Jack, but Cracker Jill.
Cracker Jill.
Right.
And it's the same thing?
Same thing. And it's celebrating women. It's celebrating women in sports. And you can get one of 5 ladies, total inclusion. And so this is,
Wait, women in sports?
That's what it says here. Women. These are your
real women in sports.
It says women in sports.
Yeah, they just women in sports.
Yeah, women in sports.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
a celebration. What's this here? In the celebration of the next generation of athletes everywhere, we're partnering with women's sports to expand access to opportunities for girls and women in sports. Now it says girls and women, which I'm all for that.
Who puts out Cracker Jack, Cracker Jill?
Cracker Jack, Cracker
Who's it come
Jill
from?
Is a.
I also wondered who does that.
I don't know. I don't see
company?
Here. It's Frito-Lay.
I'm sure it's a
Frito-Lay.
Frito-Lay. Okay, so in other words, it's a big, giant, multinational, oligopolistic corporation.
Yep.
Whose marketing department is full of woke grads from East Coast colleges, right? I mean, whatever.
Somebody came into a meeting one day and said, "Hey, let's do Cracker Jill."
Yeah,
somebody did that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, but the thing of it is, and hopefully, what's happening to Target, what's happening to Bud Light, some of these other, what I think is about to happen
Adidas,
to Lululemon with these idiots that we're going to fire the people that try to stop shoplifters.
Yeah.
I think you're beginning to see the marketplace and the American consumer throw their hands up and say, that's it. I've had enough of this. And I'm not saying Cracker Jill would necessarily put you in that category, but
no, I find it
it's a dumb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not like offensively dumb like what Bud Light did or what Target has done. But I think hopefully if things continue as they seem to be going in a year or two, the whole woke ESG, corporate marketing and branding thing about, we're as far left as the furthest left Bernie Sanders supporter. Like they're going to realize that doesn't sell. I mean, this has cost Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. This has cost him $27 billion in market cap.
No, that's good.
I mean, that's an amazing number they're sitting there with their heads spinning because they're like, this was one brand ambassador we hired. And it's like, yeah, well, it was one too many, guys.
Now, isn't Budweiser owned by the Chinese now?
No, it's it's a Belgian company that actually owns Anheuser-Busch now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, InBev, I think is the name of it. Or maybe at one point it was a Belgian company and then it was a Brazilian company that bought them or what. It's a multinational, conglomerate. And honestly, we need to, especially on the conservative side, we need to stop thinking that that's a good thing. Because what you keep seeing is you got too much money and too much power in too few hands. And when the people those hands belong to are like wacko World Economic Forum, globalist, communist, people like the Larry Finks of the world and Bill Gateses of the world who are on this weirdo ego trip, they start trying to impose things. I don't know if you guys saw this. There's a video of Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock. And he's over here and talking about, he says, well, sometimes you have to force behaviors.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, who the hell do you think I don't care how many trillions of dollars of assets under management you have. You live in a free country and you are not within your bounds to try to force anybody's behavior. right?
Yeah.
You're not the ruler of the world. And I mean, I look at a guy like that and it's like, he needs to lose his job immediately.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was unbelievable.
Like, that dude needs to be, like, he needs to be put to pasture because that money and that power has gone to his head, and he is a James Bond villain now.
He's dangerous.
Well, to me, and when I was a kid growing up and, taking history classes and learning about Teddy Roosevelt and, the whole antitrust deal that he got started, he went and basically broke up every giant company that he could. Initially, sort of as a free market guy, your visceral reaction is, oh my God, how awful. But what we're finding out now, and of course, back then, the turn of the last century was sort of the era of the robber baron, right? And but we didn't grow up in the 80s or whatever. You don't really know what that means. But now, 40 years later, you really do, because back then you had people cornering markets, and between the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and these guys, like, you had way too much of the economy in too few hands. And Roosevelt actively went out and broke that up and created way more companies to compete with each other. And it's exactly what we need now, it sounds weird as a conservative to say that, but I think we've begun to see evidence that maybe was lost 120 years ago of the fact that, capitalism will corrupt itself when it's not an open market.
Yeah.
And between these big companies, all these massive lobbyists, and there is such a thing as regulatory capture, where, you got the XYZ corporation that dominates a certain industry is going to go to the government and get them to write the rules such that they're going to continue to dominate it forever.
Yeah.
Which is what the big three did to the auto market, for example.
Right.
And all three of those companies are, really kind of zombie companies.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody with any sense of economics would say, hey, what you really ought to do is focus on building electric cars, right?
Yeah.
Do we have the technology to make that work? No, but we're going to do it anyway because the governmental guys say that it's awesome, right? And it's like, okay, but how do you get the lithium for the batteries? And it's like, we'll find a way. And it's like, but what if you don't, right? And you've made a hunk of metal that's useless. And it's like, hey, what if the public doesn't buy them? And they're like, well, we're going to sell them anyway.
6-figure hunks of metal.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, wouldn't you be better off if you had a dozen car makers that were all independent of each other and competing? And so when 2 or 3 of them said, hey, we're going to go make electric cars, they're all like, okay, we'll dominate the 90% of the market that doesn't want an electric car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So you're not that fired up about the Cracker Jill like I was as a baseball fan, knowing about Cracker Jack, Cracker Jack, as much as I am. But,
buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack.
I think.
I think it sucks, but I don't know that it outrageously sucks.
Well, and I think if they were to do it right, if they were to do Cracker Jill, it should have just been candy-coated popcorn and a prize. They should have left the nuts out.
That's exactly right.
If you're going to do it all the way. Leave the darn nuts out.
I hear you. That's exactly right.
Why does Jack and Jill have nuts? Is what I want to know.
I think they could have done.
Isn't it like Jeremy's Chocolate or whatever, the guy from the Daily Wire who keeps coming up with these sort of conservative these Jeremy's Chocolate? He says, we got male chocolate and female chocolate. We don't have any trans chocolate, and the female chocolate is the stuff that doesn't have nuts.
I was going to say, why don't they just do Cracker Jack and Jill?
That would be good.
On the back, on the front. Have them both on there. And,
or Cracker Jack and Jack. Or Cracker Jill and Jill.
Can't do that.
Either way.
Be too normal.
But the other thing, that I wanted to get into a little Saints with you. A teeny bit of Saints. Okay? Because I know you're a big... And you know what Ted tells you. Ted will tell you, I think that Scott McKay is Mr. Know-It-All. He knows a little bit. He probably knows a lot about a whole bunch. The one thing I wanted to ask you about is this, though. What do you know about this Wagyu? Now, I'm a big Arby's fan. Okay? Now, when I go to Arby's, I don't care about what they got, all the other crap on the menu. When I go to Arby's, I get the original roast beef. The original. Yeah. The original. I get the sauce. I put it. That's all I want. I don't care if they got a freaking patty melt. I don't care if they got a Reuben. That don't matter to me. A turkey sandwich. Yeah. I don't care about all the meats they got.
Where's the beef?
I want the beef. I want the want the regular sandwich. Okay. Now they've come up. They've got a Wagyu burger. Now, what's this deal with this Wagyu stuff, Scott? What is this Wagyu?
I had a Wagyu steak one time. It was colossally expensive. I didn't really think that it was a lot different than a regular steak.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my uneducated taste buds and my, kind of basic palate. I don't know, but I didn't see what the big deal was.
I want the USDA prime beef. I want USDA.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with
but it's popping up
a
everywhere.
regular ordinary prime beef thing. So
it's
I
popping
don't know.
up everywhere. It's Wagyu. And then they got this other beef that a computer makes. Have you heard about that beef?
No.
Yeah. There's a beef that a computer makes. It's like a...
What?
Yes.
Not interested.
Yeah. Just when they start messing with beef.
Pass.
That's another thing. Yeah. All right, Scott.
Well,
what do you think about the Saints now this year? What's going on? I mean, you think this... what's going to happen? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think the roster is maybe better. I don't know about the defense. They got a lot of turnover on particularly the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then again, the defensive line was not, I didn't think it played up to snuff last year. So, they trade out, they get rid of Davenport, they get rid of Tuttle, and they get rid of Onyemata. And the new guys they brought in may or may not be better.
Well, they drafted the one kid. He's supposed to be
if Breezy, now if that guy is if he's healthy, because he was never really healthy at Clemson, but if he's healthy, and the Saints and the Pelicans should be very careful about drafting people who have injury issues, because whatever they are, I mean, I don't know who the trainers are in those franchises, but it's
can it be worse than the Ochsner doctors? They're the worst.
Well, I guess.
I mean, look, you can't keep anybody on the field or court. You can't keep
no.
But we do have Demario Davis, and Demario Davis was on our podcast, and as long as we got him, I mean, I think we'll have
he's legit.
Yeah, we'll have a decent defense. But
and I like the other guy. What's his name? Dude from Ohio State. Why can I not remember?
I can't remember his name either. Yeah,
not Wagner.
Yeah. What's his name? Starts with
go on a podcast and I can't remember things. That's so bad. Anyway, he's good. And I'm warming up to David Carr as a potential, guy. And I like what they did at running back with Miller and Williams coming in. I think they got legit backs now. And they actually,
Kamara,
if they keep people healthy, I think they got a good receiving core.
Wait,
where's
Kamara?
Uncovered the kid from.
Well, Kamara's going to be.
No, he's still there, but that's right. He's got a suspension to deal with.
Yeah. What do you think? What about DeAndre Hopkins? Wouldn't it be great to get him?
Yeah, I kind of looked at that. I was like, well,
we can actually afford.
Right.
We can actually afford him. But it depends on what they do, because that OBJ or whatever, Odell Beckham Jr. got that big contract, didn't play for a year, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think the Saints will be pretty interesting this year. So
they could put it this way: if they can't make the playoffs this year, then we know it's Dennis Allen.
That's right.
Because that was kind of he is like, okay, is this guy enough of a leader for this franchise? And I don't know that question got answered at all. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to find that out, because personnel wise, it's a playoff team.
Well, one of these games this year, I'm going to come up to Baton Rouge, and then me and you and Teddy are going to watch a game together. How's that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Hey, what about switching to basketball? What about Zion Williamson? Could be a daddy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you happy for him?
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
Can you go on injured reserve as a dad?
But you know what you can do? You can take what do they call it? Leave. You can take what do they call
parental leave?
Yeah, parental. You can take as a man. You can do that today.
That'll be the next
Seriously.
thing, right?
No, it's true.
No, it's not that I'm hurt. It's that the kid is sick. And it's like,
I have a nephew with the New Orleans Fire Department. They got 3 months off because his wife had a baby.
Yeah,
3 months. Yeah,
that's good work if you can get it right.
I'm telling you,
he'll work.
A consultant.
He'll find a
consultant. He's someone that says, "Hey, let me tell you how to do something. You pay me. I'm going to tell you how to do something." That's the best work of all, the consultant. So Scott, let us know what's going on with the new book. Anything else you got for Scott today? Anything else you got for Scott?
No, you got any speaking engagements coming up? Anything?
Well, actually, we just did. I'm actually running the PAC for the Louisiana Freedom Caucus, which is a group of legislators in the House of Representatives now, who are they're the people that actually stood against basically spending the state's surplus on the legislative equivalent of hookers and blow. And they're also the folks that are trying to fight the woke madness that's going on. these are the real conservatives. These are the people that actually will take controversial positions and stand in the breach. So we had an event last night, and we had like 400 people show up, raised a whole bunch of money. It was huge success. So we're going to be doing a bunch of those around the state, maybe bringing in some big national names to come speak and that kind of thing. So it's all going to be great.
Yeah. So let us know if you do one around here somewhere. We'd like to be a part of that.
August.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, man. So
let us
know.
Not sure what date in August, but we're actually working on that right now.
Yeah. Let us know when you get a title for the book. We'll have you back between now and Louisiana election.
Oh, definitely.
Still got a few months till that happens. Yeah.
Well, Scott, tell people how they can get a hold of you and check you out and follow you and all that. How they do all that stuff.
Yeah, well, if you're interested in Louisiana stuff, check us out at thehayride.com. For national things, you might also want to check out reviver.com, which is rvivr.com.
His name is Scott McKay. He's always the best guest we've ever had, and we appreciate you being on again, Scott. Thank you.
Sure thing, guys.
Scott McKay, ladies and gentlemen. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him.
He knows a lot about a lot of things.
He knows a lot of Mr. Know-It-All, as I call him.
And he's got a lot to say about a lot of things.
Thank you, Ted, for getting him booked today. I know he's a busy guy. Yeah. Congratulations you for having him booked.
Yeah. All right.
And we'll see you next time, Teddy.
All right, see you
Don't
next
forget
time.
to share the show, right?
Share the show.
Because sharing is caring. Absolutely.
Okay,
God bless you all. We'll see you later.
Come on, this Coin Trader Studios, we're bringing it live. And who am I? I go by the name of Darkest Night. And Jada Hoyos is the one who brings a sick beat, to which we're getting pumped for topics this week. Cause I need to grab my great soda and take a sip, while I turn it over to Katie, Nick, Ted, and Vic. It's all over. We're all over the road. We got a brand new show, so just lo and behold, from the bayou to the city to the burbs to the swamps, you better know what time it is when you're hearing that.
Did you buy Cracker Jill the game?
No. In fact,
This is the first I heard of it. When you
the majority of girls. Look at the Cracker, all the Cracker Jills on the back. These are all Cracker Jills.
Cracker Jill. How long has this been out?
I don't know.
This is all the Cracker Jills?
Scott will know.
Visit crackerjill.com.
Yeah. Cracker Jill. No more Jack.
There's no more Jack? Oh, I thought this was like just an addition.
I can't find a Cracker Jack anywhere.
What the hell?
Jills.
I don't have any volume.
Volume? Well, talking.
I don't know. I'm talking, man. I'm talking. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything.
And now you're 3.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I thought I did them last time. Like one. Like
you hear in your headphones?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are
right?
you getting volume in your headphones?
No, nothing.
How's that?
Yeah. There we go. Okay. What is it? 4 on the headphones? Or is it changed?
Yesterday, Derek sat right there. He was 4.
Well, you like to make it like 1, 2, 3, and same with the headphones as the mics, right?
I know.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
Okay.
So you're recording right now?
Yeah. So let's just call him.
Polling clearly shows, fairly or unfairly, that a majority of Americans think that President Biden is on a day pass from the nursing home. And further polling shows that at the moment the president is he's about as popular as a colonoscopy. And
part of the reason I would never judge anyone's politics is because for my life to go the way I want it to go, I do need both parties in my life. I do. I'm not a Republican, but I want my tax guy to be a Republican. And not a lot Republican. I want some shady GOP tax stuff done on my behalf. Way right. I want him to have stormed the Capitol, ideally. There's no such thing as too far right for my tax guy. I want a CPA and a QAnon. Way right. But that's my taxes. I wouldn't let a Republican touch my coffee. Liberals make better coffee. I'm sorry to tell you this. Conservatives make terrible coffee. They're going to call it espresso. Oh, no.
All of the Road New Orleans is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc.,
For real-time prices on gold, silver, palladium, and platinum 24/7, go to goldpricesnow.com. That's goldpricesnow.com.
We thank you all. This is the announcer guy speaking. For 4 seasons and all over the road, the podcast, New Orleans.